answer it, especially Professor Jones. The signature that you put up of the Nano Thermite, it was even more explosive than a sample of presumably military-grade Thermate that you put with it. That signature is the fingerprint, literally, of a mass murderer. What can you tell us about what you already know about the possible source of that explosive thermitic material? Thank you.
We elect you now. Okay. Let me attempt an answer. Well, as scientists, we can determine that this material is active thermitic material, highly reactive. It certainly matches what we find in the literature. As you mentioned, these are defense contractors who produce this nanothermite, and or super thermite. It's the same thing. In the days leading up to 2001, 9/11, 2001, there were not many places that we can find that had the capability to make this nanothermite. We know the defense contracting laboratories had this capability. You realize that there's large quantities of this in the dust when you extrapolate to the tens of thousands of tons of dust that was produced. There are, and again, we estimate from what we see in the dust samples, approximately, and this is rough, but approximately 3 tons of unexploded nanothermite in the dust. So who has the, and there must have been more than that produced. So, oh yes, thank you, Richard. Here's a sample of the dust. Is this Jeanette McKinley?
No, that came off the high-rise.
Oh, this high-rise, okay. So we're getting a number of these samples of the World Trade Center dust. Don't breathe it. I hope it's double bagged. Probably is. Okay, so I'm very careful when I work with that stuff now. Anyway, let's see. So the point, yes, the point of the source. Let me just say that to really pin that down, we will need the type of investigation that Richard and the architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth are calling for, which is a criminal investigation. Science can tell you so much. Now, I will mention too, Kevin Ryan, my good friend, has shown that a number of the authors of the NIST report on the World Trade Center, in fact, are experts in nanothermite. So your question really should be directed to them, and I'll leave it at that.
Last question from a member of the press. If you're wearing a press pass and you have a question, raise your hand right here. Into the microphone.
For Mr. Lawyer, in particular, I wanted to know, what's the general feeling among firefighters today? You mentioned 343 of your brothers are calling out for justice. And is there a sense of anger and bitterness? I wonder if that might be the beginning of a wider investigation.
That's what we're hoping for. A lot of the military and senior military intelligence guys that I've spoken with think the firefighters are kind of the key to waking up the average person because they lost so much. I think Dr. Griffin could probably speak about this better. I think it's, I'd like to joke, my minor in college was sociology and psychology. There's something going on in the fire service, just like the rest of the country, but especially in New York, because I don't think there's a cover-up. I don't think there was a gag order. I've talked to so many of those guys. I don't think there's a gag order. I think what it is the people that were hurt the most from this have the most to lose when they realize what really happened. And there's just a physical, there's like an emotional barrier there. They can't look at it. So as far as firefighters, we're just like the rest of the population. We're divided, and it's very emotional for the ones who really don't want to believe it. They get angry with me. I'll get, hate mail. I'll get all kinds of things, but then there's 10 times as many behind the scenes that are supporting us that that are seeing it. And I think it is changing. There's some chief officers and stuff that have now come out publicly supporting us that are saying they didn't see this either. It took me years to see it, and I think what it is the emotion needs to die down, and then people can relax about it, look at the evidence objectively, and I think as a nation it's just, I'm seeing the big snowball happening now. I think it's all of us together. It's not any one of us, but so
One important thing that's happening and a possible sign of change in the media is to show Rescue Me, which has been dealing with this issue. So if you're not aware of it, it's an important thing, maybe an indication that things are changing.
Rescue Me is the hit television program with Daniel Sunjata leading star in it. He's in New York, and today he gave a press conference, an AE 9/11 Truth press conference, one of 32 happening across the country. Okay, Dr. Jones and Dr. Griffin, Eric Lawyer, and myself are available for 2-minute interviews. Abby, come on up. If you'd like to have an interview with any of us, please sign up. You can see Abby has her clipboard ready to go. Somebody get Abby's clipboard. It's right here. And we'll be available for the next 15 minutes while we're setting up, taking down the screen. You're welcome to mill around in here. And you can go into if you're in the luncheon area now, you'll need to extract yourself from there because we'll need to have people processed according to those who paid the lofty fee, which, by the way, barely covers our costs for this wonderful place. But thanks to the Marines Club Memorial Hotel. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.